And what we're here to talk about today is how to make money from your phone, from this thing right here. And of course, what we're talking about is video. And I want to explain that the whole idea, like why I decided to talk about this today, is because in the last week, over on LinkedIn, I got involved in a challenge, the 21-day challenge over there. And the 21-day challenge was simply put out a piece of content. In my case, it was going to be video once a day for 21 days. So I dove in and I started to do it. I have never done anything like that. And if you ever done a daily challenge, write daily challenge in the comments so I can see that you did it. And my hat's off to you, because man, it's not easy. So, I did it straight for all last week. I did it for 6 days straight. And I have to say that I just don't think I'm cut out for doing daily videos. Even though I like doing video, and even though doing video is relatively easy for me, I immediately started feeling the pressure of, oh my gosh, now I have to show up tomorrow with something new and something different. And, a lot of my day came, my mindset was sort of distracted around, well, what am I going to do the next time? And what am I going to do tomorrow? And I think, it really started to feel like a gerbil wheel. Like I put myself in this little gerbil wheel and I'm running really fast. And I'm trying to stay just in one place and I'm not really getting anywhere. And I really don't like that feeling. And if you have ever felt like, oh, everybody's saying they can hear me, yay! That's so good. That's really helpful. So if you've been feeling like you've been in a gerbil wheel, especially when it comes to social media or content marketing, go ahead and write gerbil wheel in the comments so that I know that you're with me. The thing about this is that when I go online and when I go on Facebook or I go on LinkedIn or I go on Instagram, or even just open up my email in the morning, I feel kind of inundated these days with all these offers from all these online marketers who are offering me all these different ways to, make more money or ways to, find this one silver bullet that's going to change my life forever. And all I have to do is go and watch their webinar for an hour and a half. So they'll tell me some of the secret, and then they'll make an offer so I can pay them a whole bunch of money to go and get the rest of the secret. And I'm kind of at the point where I'm going, I just don't want to participate in these big, huge, fancy funnels and somebody's new email sequence and all that kind of stuff. And I don't even really want to be doing that for myself. And I don't even want to be steering the people who I work with in the same direction. I believe that all of this kind of stuff can be done much, much more simply. And of course, the good news is that we now have this kind of device. And the other kind of good news is that I think part of the answer in terms of if you're in business and you have a really good message and you're really enthusiastic and passionate about the thing that you do, what you want to do is you want to get it out there and you want to give that message directly to ideal prospects, people who are out there in the world who would really be the best kind of person for you to work with. And it's only until recently, the invention of the smartphone, tied together with the internet, tied together with platforms like LinkedIn and Facebook and YouTube, where we can now make video and we can put it out there and we can actually show ourselves and spread our message to a large number of exactly the right kind of people. And that's what I want to talk about today, because I really get it if you're like me and you've been feeling like, oh my gosh, all this stuff is too much. And even if you've been thinking about video, then if you've been thinking about video, go ahead and write video in the comments. Say, yeah, I do video, or I haven't done any video, but I've been thinking about it. Rachel says, hooray for simple. All right, that's great. So yeah, um, anyway, people who think about doing video, a lot of folks, and you might be one of them, the first thing that they're thinking about is, oh my gosh, it's going to take a lot of time and it's going to be really expensive. I'm going to have to buy a fancy new camera. And it's got all this technical stuff that's part of making video that I have to figure out. And I'm not a technical person, so you know, I don't know how to do all that stuff. And worst of all, maybe is that you may be feeling like, yeah, and I don't think I look that good on the camera. Like maybe I'm not a video person, and I don't really think that I will come off that well. Or maybe you do like the way that you come off, but you feel like I have to be perfect. I have to make sure that if I go in front of the camera, it's going to be perfect. And so I'm going to do all this work and get really ready, and it's going to take a long time for me to be ready so that I can be perfect. So these are all things that people think about. These are things that people tell me when they think about video. And I first want to say that if you do it, if you approach video in a certain way, all of those things are true. It can take a lot of time. It can be really expensive. It can involve a lot of fancy, technical, weirdo gadgets that are hard to figure out. And if you're trying to be perfect, that can seem really, really daunting. And in fact, you can often put yourself in a place where you're feeling, I'm never going to be ready. And so what I want to say about all of that is, while all of that is true, if you do it a certain way, in fact, if you do it the way that people have been doing it for a long time, there is a simple way to do this that is really, really easy. And it starts here. It starts with your phone. I can take my phone and I can turn it on, and I can turn on the video app on my phone, and I can hit record, and all of a sudden I'm broadcasting. And through the wonders of linking up with social media, I can broadcast onto YouTube and all the people there, or I can broadcast onto LinkedIn and all the people there. And I don't need anything more fancy than this. I don't need to figure out any technical stuff. This is as simple as posting a picture onto Facebook or posting a text post onto LinkedIn. It doesn't take any more knowledge or ingenuity than that. And the nice thing about it is that if you go live, if you choose to go live on Facebook, or soon, like they're now rolling out live video on LinkedIn, which is going to be an incredible game changer. If you go live on any of these platforms, you're off the hook of being perfect. No one wants you to be perfect. They really will like you better. They feel like they know you more if you show up on a live stream where actually you can't be perfect. It's live. And so everything you do is in the moment, it's real. And if you take your phone and you drop it on the floor, that's just what happens. And you kind of have to go with it. And the beauty of this is that you become much more relatable if you do this. And honestly, like in the time, especially just all last week, like one of the things that I tried, and I learned a lot from doing this, I was doing a video every day all last week. And some of my videos, if you go and see them, were in fact more polished. Some of those videos were pre-recorded videos, and I had B-roll, and I had used my fancy camera, and I did all this extra stuff on top of it. I added music. And honestly, those videos didn't do as well as some of the live videos that I've done. And so when I'm looking at this and I'm seeing what is the response, what I have found consistently over time is that if I show up live and I'm having much more of a conversation and I'm just being myself, I'm being the person who I am, people like that more. They respond better, and I get more engagement, I get more views, I get more response. And what's going on, like people are much more likely to stay in touch and stay in tune with my message if I'm showing up in this way, live in the moment. And this is what I want to say, that you can do this too. So it's really, really very simple. Just to pick up your phone, hit record, go live, and be yourself. And this is kind of the first step in all of this. Is like all of that stuff you've been thinking about how to do this and all the other things about, oh my gosh, I have to have an email sequence, and oh my gosh, I have to build a complicated funnel, and oh my gosh, I have to do all these things. I have to develop a webinar. Yeah, you can do those things. And if you do them correctly, those things can work. But those things take a lot of work and they take a lot of time. And you can cut through all of that by simply pulling out your phone and going live and showing up as you, as yourself. That's step number one. I'm going to glance at comments here. And Simone says she's thinking about video. All right, Simone. And Morris says, I've done limited. Morris, I know you've been doing some video and you should keep doing it. You're doing great. So what I want to talk about next are sort of the way that you can create a simple system for doing this so that it's really easy for you. And that in fact, the message that you're sending is really connecting. It's really getting across. And this is something that every single person who's in business needs. I don't care what kind of business you're in, what kind of thing you're doing. I don't care, like in the case of Morris, if all you have is this message that you want to get across and this value and gift that you want to give to people, even if that's all you have something to do is you have something of value to bring. This stuff that I'm going to talk about now is something that everybody needs to have and needs to master. And I made some notes on this. I'm going to look at my notes so I make sure I don't forget anything. I got to scroll down here. So the main thing that you want to think about is when you're putting your message out, and now we're talking about putting out your phone and getting in front of people by talking to them through your phone. So the kinds of things that you want to express are, here's who I am. This is the problem that I'm addressing. This is the problem that I'm solving. And this is the unique way that I approach this problem. And of course, you want to talk, want to say, who is it for? Like, you want to address your audience and who is it for and why should it matter to them? And then you want to simply say, and if you want me to help you do this, go right over here and I'll help you. That's it. Those things. These are the things that you want to do. And you want to do this in a very regular and consistent way. If you start doing this, you will become familiar. And the first part of this is that, people are out there and they don't know you, they've never seen you before, they're basically strangers, and you want to turn those strangers into friends of yours. And so simply by, just like you would if you were meeting something in person, you come on, you make a Facebook video and you talk about who you are, the problem that you're talking about, your unique way of addressing that problem, who you want to be talking to and why it matters to them, and you are now becoming familiar. And the people who you're talking to, if you're really having an engaging conversation and you're live on video and they're talking back and forth with you, you are becoming familiar to them and you're becoming relatable to them and you're becoming much more of a real, genuine person to them. And some of those people will, you will resonate with them and they will like you and they will want to respond to you and they will want to talk with you more. So that's the first system that you want to put in place, is basically you want to come up with some videos, you want to come up with some times when you can go live with people and you want to talk with them in this very relatable, engaging way. And if you do this, what you will accomplish is you will become a familiar face and possibly the obvious choice for solving the thing that you want to solve and for doing the thing that you want to do. And this can be pretty simple to do. Now, the second step in all of this is that you want to then turn the people who you're talking to, these ones who've become familiar to you, you want to turn them into leads. And so you can make a second few videos, and let me put this in the context of, I don't think you need to make a lot of videos forever going on into the future. In fact, the rule of thumb is that if you're looking at someone who has never seen you before or never heard of you, and what happens with them before they turn around and actually decide to work with you or hire you or buy something from you or do whatever it is that you're wanting to do with them. It usually takes 7 points of contact with you. That's the general rule that is out there. 7 points of contact. After 7 points of contact, someone is much more likely to start working with you than only 1 or 2. So when you look at, well, what do I need to do? Like, how many videos do I need to make? How long do I need to keep doing this? The answer is somewhere between 7 to maybe 10 videos total. And you can break them up into 3 sections. The first section is the one I just described. It's just becoming familiar and having a video that's kind of engaging and that's addressing their problem. Second kind of video is the one where you're turning them from just talking with you to becoming a lead with you. And you're actually wanting to move them from wherever you are. Like if you're on LinkedIn, you want to move them off of there onto something that's yours. Same with Facebook, same with YouTube. And the most common thing is that you offer them something that's free that they can access in return for giving you their email. And this is usually called a lead magnet. And I would call it a content upgrade. So I could offer, hey, we're talking about how to make money with your phone today. And I have a free toolkit that shows you the 4 tools you need to make your videos look really professional and make it really easy for you to turn your viewers into clients. And if you'd like that toolkit, just write toolkit in the comments and I'll send you the link where you can go get that. And what will happen is that you would get the link and you would go to my page where that toolkit lives. And in exchange for giving me your email, I would give you the toolkit. And you can create any number of things like this that are related to whatever it is that you're talking about. And this is a very simple thing to do. And what happens, of course, is then you build this list of people who now you can continue to stay in contact with. And in fact, if you've created this set of videos that I'm talking about, now you can start sending them the rest of the series. And so you want to think about like what you're actually producing here is a serial, and it's kind of like a serial like Netflix. And when Netflix comes out with a new season of a show, they produce 12 episodes, and they have them all ready, but they don't give them to you all at once necessarily. They might drip them out, one at a time in a series. And you can do the same thing. And if they're done properly, you can have one lead to the next, so that people are going, oh, I can't wait for the next one. Or, oh, I really want to know the information that's in the next one. Or, oh, these first 2 are really helpful. And I can see how if I watch the 3rd one, that's going to be really helpful too. This is the kind of thing that you can do. And this is terrifically good for turning strangers into friends and then friends into leads. Now, the third, final step is you then make videos that are basically ones where you make your offer. And this can be all kinds of stuff. Like if you were a personal trainer, you could, show a class that you're doing, which is like your group training program. And you could basically go live with the group. And the group could be doing whatever they do, and you could show them how they're enjoying themselves, how they're supporting each other, and you could show the enthusiasm and the spirit they have, and it would be very contagious. That it's like, oh my gosh, look at this group, and look what they're doing, and look at the results they're having, and look how much support they give to each other, and it would look really attractive to want to join that group. And that would be a great offer video to make, because you're basically giving this experience of what it's like to be in your group. And then, you can say, well, join us. If you want to join us, just go over here. And you say, this is what you need to do now if you would like to be part of this. And that's a very simple one. It's a very, very attractive thing for you to do, especially if you're doing anything like that. That is, with a group of people, and it's genuine and physical, and somehow you can share that experience. The other kind of thing you can do, especially if you're a practitioner and you have a modality that you can actually share. Let's say, like my coach is a woman named Pamela Brunner, and she does this thing that's called EFT, or tapping. You're tapping the different points, and you're basically releasing anxiety and fear and blocks that are holding you back from doing things. And it's a really effective technique. And of course, it has many, many applications. And so Pamela can, and she does this all the time, she can make a video and she'll say, well, today we're going to remove the block that you might have towards money. And then she'll lead you through this exercise where if you have a block towards money, you're going to experience getting some release from that block just simply by doing the tapping along with her. And then she'll say, well, now I've got this program where you can release blocks, in these 5 other areas that are keeping you from having a successful business. And if you want to join my program, it's right over here. And she'll do that. And that, that's a very attractive thing, because if you worked with her and you went through that experience, now you're going, wow, this stuff really works. And if I did this some more, I would probably, advance myself in a whole bunch of ways that I'm not allowing myself to do now because I have all these blocks. And these are just different examples of the kinds of things that you can do. And the last example I'll give you is the idea of, just simply getting people on a call with you. If you like to work with people one-on-one, then you can offer to get on a call with them. And in fact, you may notice if you're on Facebook or you're watching the replay of this, that the post that I have on Facebook, the call to action is, you can have a coaching call with me. And one of the incentives for me to make this video is that I have some room in my calendar for a number of people, a finite number of people, to get on a coaching call. This system, if this idea of simplifying the way that you are doing marketing and simplifying the way that you are reaching new people and, getting your message out there in front of them and turning, finding people amongst the crowd who are ideal for you to work with and actually moving them along to very quickly, like within no time at all, within a week, 2 weeks, like very short time frame, no money, no, big technical voodoo, no complicated funnel building, none of that stuff, just using your phone and live video. If you would like me to coach you specifically for your business and give you some very specific strategy ideas, like I just was suggesting for your business on how you can use these systems of first turning strangers into friends and then friends into leads and then leads into clients, creating, what would that series look like for you? If you'd like to have a full-on coaching session where I'll walk you through how that could work for you, then you can go to my page, which is Attract Clients on Video, attractclientsonvideo.com. And I'll write that in the chat here. And if you're watching on Facebook, it's already in the description on the post. So let me just write that in here. And Lee says she loves EFT. And Newton loves it too. Oh, I want to see Newton. Okay, hang on. So the address for the call is attractclientsonvideo.com. So you can go there and you can schedule a full-on coaching call with me. And if you know someone who, you can think of someone and say, oh yeah, I know somebody, and they have been really struggling with their business and they have been working all this time and they built a bunch of funnel stuff and they've been trying to do Facebook ads and they're really frustrated with it. You should introduce me to them. I mean, you could basically say, this is my gift to them, and point them in my direction, point them to Attract Clients on Video, and they can schedule a call with me. And I'd be happy to meet with someone, especially if you are looking at them and you're going, yeah, this is somebody I know who would really benefit from this. So that's, let me just look at my notes again, see if I have covered everything that I intended to, because I always want to make sure that I'm meeting my intentions. I'm getting right down to the bottom of my notes here. Yeah, so I guess the last thing I'll say here is that in all the things that you're doing, it really doesn't matter, like specifically what your business is, but all you need to know in order to do this well is what sets you apart, what problem do you solve, and what your offer is, and who is it for. And if you're clear on those things, and then you go on video and you just show up as yourself, or in Lee's case, if you show up as your puppet, which will totally work, you and your puppet will be so relatable. Anyway, if you do that, then that's it. Like, you're winning the game. And if that's all you need to know, like in terms of, are you ready to do this? And if you don't feel like you're clear on any of those things, then that's another reason to get on a call with me. And I can help you figure out any part of that you're not clear like a crystal. And that's another big part of the work that I do. What I'm offering here is just this much, much simpler way to market yourself, a much, much simpler way to show up in the world and show up in a much bigger, broader way, but also in a much more relatable way than what we're used to seeing. And like marketing has for a long time had a really bad name. And I just want to take that, do an Aikido thing and put it right over here. we can show up in a way that is very generous and very giving and very thoughtful and personable. And I honestly believe that this tool, for all the things you might say about smartphones that are not so great, one of the nice things is that it does allow you, to show up authentically, as opposed to, doing the selfie thing and saying, hey, look at my perfect life. Like, we are not talking about that. I'm not talking about being an Instagram influencer and you're only showing me the pictures of you on the beach in Bali. That's not it. Or in your driveway with your Lamborghini. That's not it either. Okay, let's see what the comments here. So let's see, 4 parts. What sets me apart, what problem I solve, who's it for, and what's number. Okay, so the 4 parts are what sets you apart, what problem you solve, what your offer is, and who is it for. That's the 4 things. I'll say that one more time. What sets you apart, what problem you solve, what's your offer, and who's it for. All right? And again, like, if any one of those things you're going, let's see, what does set me apart? If you're wondering about that, I can help you figure that out. And we can do it quickly for free on a coaching call. And if you want to get on a call with me, I'd be happy to talk with you about that. And all you have to do is go to attractclientsonvideo.com and fill out a little, I'm going to ask you a few questions on that page. And then you press the button and you go right to my calendar and you can schedule a time for us to get together and talk on a call just like this, on a Zoom call. And we can do it together. Yay. Let me see. Rachel says, been thinking about doing more video, but the initial fear factor definitely creates resistance. Yeah, I'm with you. I know about that fear factor. I feel it all the time. And what I can say about that is live video, like, first of all, if you do live video in a safe place, I have a group coaching program, and in my group, some of my people in the group coaching are on this call right now. And in that group setting, you can make a video and you can share it into our group. And what will happen is that I will, and other members of the group will, give you positive feedback. And when you're doing this, and the other thing that you can do is that you can make a live video that is only to your own private group. And you can invite like a handful of 3 or 4 friends to join you in that group. And ahead of time, you can say, okay, you guys, I'm going to do this video. I really need you to be there. And when I'm there, I want you to give me lots of comments and lots of likes and lots of kudos and lots of hearts and all this stuff. And when you go through that experience of having yourself be in front of the camera, and having people talk to you, just like what's happening right now with me, um, it's so encouraging. And you start to realize that, one, you can do this. Two, it really doesn't have to be perfect. And three, even though you're not perfect, people still like you a lot. In fact, they might even like you better. And as you experience, like you don't just learn these things, you actually have the experience of it. You get to a place where it's like, oh my gosh, I can do this. This is great. And you also, know that even though you're bound to make what we call mistakes, but it really doesn't matter. Like, it really completely does not matter. And it's liberating. The whole thing is like entirely, utterly, remarkably liberating. And if I could do anything in this world in terms of helping people out, it's to get them to that place of liberation where they don't think they have to be perfect, and it's okay to be imperfect, and it's okay to show up as an imperfect person, and to get people to start doing that more and more. If I can be instrumental in helping people get to that place, then I will feel like I've been doing what I'm supposed to do. So I hope that's helpful as a response to your question. And oh, look, Bettina's here. All right. So great to see you. It's so great who's here on this chat. I'm so happy. So I am reaching the end of the time that I was intending to spend. We've been on for just over half an hour. So if you've got any questions, now's your time to write them in the chat here on Zoom. And don't be shy. You can ask me anything at all, and I'm here to answer your questions. So anything you'd like to say and join in, I will take a look at here. And I can see Maria's here. And it's funny, some of your names are just kind of part of the name, so I can't actually see the whole name. But it's great to see you. Now I'm going to take a risk here and go over to Facebook and just see. All right, here it is. It's on. Yep, I can see myself. And I don't see any questions on Facebook, so what the heck? We'll let that go. And now I'm back looking at the Zoom room. He says, practice makes progress, practice makes perfect. Right. Yeah, the whole thing, I think that perfection is a myth. But it's kind of an unfortunate myth, because as a culture, maybe even as a species, humans have bought into the idea that perfection is possible. And that's a myth. It's a mythic thing. Perfection is just a form. It's just an idea. It's an ideal. And no matter what we do, perfection is like, it's a fairy tale. It's not actually going to be perfect. And in fact, the trouble is, the more we try and strive for perfection, the more we're holding ourselves back. And the more, like in the music world, there's this thing called woodshedding. And what most musicians do is that when they're learning a new instrument, or they're learning their instrument that they're crazy about learning, is they go into the woodshed out back and they practice all by themselves in the dark of the woodshed. And finally, maybe years later, when they feel like they're good enough and they're perfect enough to take it out into the world and show their thing, then they show up. And what happens? There's no audience. They may be the greatest thing in the world, but no one has ever heard of them. And so it's much, much better to show up with something that is less than perfect and ask people what they think, or ask people for feedback, or ask people to try, like in the non-music world, like if you've got something and you want to share it, or you're working on something and you want to share it, or you're writing a book and you want to share the third chapter, or you're thinking of creating a course program and you have, module number 2, you can share these things. You can share them on a video. You can say, hey, let me read you the second chapter of my book. Or just, 3 paragraphs from what I just wrote yesterday. And people will give you feedback right in the moment. And what it will do is it will make your book better. It will make your writing better. It'll make your course better. It'll make your ideas better. It'll make whatever you think that you should be helping people do, it'll make you more helpful to them. And the more we show up and we offer things that are less than perfect, the truth is, the closer we actually close that gap to being able to offer something that is really better for the people who we want to serve. And it's a much better, I mean, there's this story of, this class in which the class everybody's making pots, so the pottery making class. And the teacher divided the class in half. And this half, he said, okay, you guys, I want you to make the most perfect pot. You can only make one, but I want it to be the most perfect pot ever. And I want you to study design. I want you to study form. I want you to study shape. I want you to study materials. And I want you to make the best pot you could possibly make. And I will grade you on perfection. And then the other half, he said, I want you guys to make a bunch of pots. And I don't care what kind of pots they are. Just make a bunch of pots and I will grade you on weight. Like the largest number of just physical weight of pots you make, those people will get the highest grades. And of course, which half do you think made the best pot? You can write that in the comments if you want to. I'll just wait. And look in the comments. Was it the class or the half of the class that made tons and tons of pots? Or was it the class that made one striving for perfection? And yeah, wait, the group that made tons of pots. Yeah, that's exactly right. The group that made a lot of pots, even though most of them were very less than perfect, they're the ones that made the one that finally at some point that actually ended up being really, really nice. And, that sort of falls out like practice makes perfect, but it's not about the perfect. It's about practicing the imperfect and being willing to do more imperfect things. And the more imperfect things you do, the more open you are, the more transparent you are, the more revealing you are, the more relatable you are, the more real you are. And if you show up and you do all of these things, and you take advantage of the fact that you have a phone and you can get online and you can do all of that immediately in the moment, live with people who could be your ideal target people to be working with, or your ideal people to be serving, or the ideal people for you to be interacting with. If you can do all of that, why not? Like, how much does this cost? And if you're sitting here going, well, I can't do that because I'm afraid to do it, well, get on a call with me and I will help you. Maybe we'll do some tapping together. All right, so I think we're near the end of our time. That's been 40 minutes now, 40 minutes, where does time go? And thank you so much for joining me. It's great to see you on this Zoom call, and look forward to the next time I'm going to be on. Next week, I'm going to do this kind of thing again. And I'm actually going to try and be consistent with going live at this time on a Tuesday, so you can look forward to that. And again, I'll say one more time, if any of this is sort of going, let's see, there's this one part that I still would like help with, then I invite you to schedule a call with me, attract clients on video.com, go ahead and apply. And if you have a friend or an acquaintance or a colleague or somebody who you know, who you're thinking, oh my gosh, yeah, they could really use this help. I've seen them and they're struggling and they're in pain. They're so frustrated. They're having so much trouble. Anyway, you know anybody like that, just offer this as a gift. Say, hey, here's this thing. This guy is really cool. And definitely tell them how awesome I am. And go ahead and offer it to them, and I will be happy to talk to them as well. You can tell them I sent you, or you can have them tell me that you sent them, that kind of thing. So I'll know how they came to me. That would be great. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just glance one more time down here. And you guys are welcome. And I will see you the next time. And I'm going to close this off. So long, everybody.